This is the blog. It's about almost anything. It's about you, it's about me, it's about the stories, it's about what's going on in the industry. It's what we want to do with the serials next. It's where I hear your concerns about the things that matter to you and what you hope we can do for the site. Both guests, so people who are not members of Raythe, as well as Raythe members can actually discuss things with me. And I really do respond to everything and read everything. We have a bunch of little graphics that I've had a designer do. So when it's time to do like an Ask Raythe Anything or an update or a new story or a poll, you'll recognize them. You know, a lot of authors, they have their Facebook pages and whatever. We are truly a community. I feel like I know my members as people and they know me as a person. So it's not a situation where I'm on a different level or someone's on a different level than you. We are together in this as fans together. So let's look at the FAQ. It's divided into 4 sections. Let's go to billing an account right now. It defines things that you need to know. For example, one thing that a lot of people don't realize, even though we try to make it as explicit as possible, is that the site bills you on a recurring basis. What does that mean? It's like any other membership. If you have a gym membership, you're billed monthly, right? That's how that goes. You don't have to authorize another transaction. You've already agreed for us to be able to bill you on a recurring basis. That's how Raythe works. So it's like, well, what if I don't want to continue on, or I don't know how much money I'm going to have in my account and I'd like to buy a month and not have it recur billing. Well, it's here too. You go to how do I cancel my membership? And what this does is it just cancels the recurring portion of your membership, meaning that it won't bill you again, but you have full access to the site. You could sign up and then you could immediately cancel and you'll still have access to the site for as long as you've signed up for. This gives you all these very basic things about, I don't want anyone to find out I subscribe to Raythe. Is my identity safe? Are my membership account in the shop linked? All that kind of stuff. It's all here for you to look at. So here we have, for example, let's go down to About Raythe. So this tells you who we all are and how long we've been around and the fact that we are very much not a big company, though we try to run ourselves like one. If we accept writing submissions, standalone titles, stories and manga section, answer questions like, do the serials ever end? Obviously they do, because I showed you in the library section that they are completed, and there's many, many, many completed. One that we get all the time is, let me just scroll down to find it here. Do you need proofreaders or quality checkers for serial chapters? Here's the thing. There's no editing of the serial chapters, as you'll find out. Like I said, I write the stories the day they're due. And really, I normally am up right against the deadline of that day because I write approximately like 4,000 to 5,000 words for each chapter, and that's a lot. It's more important to me to make sure that story makes sense and have the story be exciting than it is to make sure there are no typos in it. So if we were to have, like, for example, a proofreader, they would then have to take the chapter after I've done it the exact moment, which I never know exactly when it's going to be done, and have to immediately make all these changes and then give these changes to me. And then I would have to make them. And then it would be after that the chapter would be posted. Back in the early days of Raythe, when we saw this wasn't working, I went to the readers and I said, hey guys, do you want chapters with less typos? Because believe me, there's never no typos. Or more chapters with more typos. And the idea was more chapters. And that's how we've sort of gone with it. So if typos drive you crazy, you're going to be driven completely insane by the site. I would recommend then that you actually only read my individual books that are published on Amazon that do have substantive editing. Another question we get is, how will I know if I'll like all the stories in the serial lineup? And the thing is, we have previews for pretty much almost every story except for ones that are Forever Dark, where you have to go and sign up for that one, and for sequels, because it doesn't make sense to read the first five chapters of a sequel. You'd be spoiled. But you can basically read them all and figure out for yourself. But let me explain the way I do things. Everybody knows who James Patterson is. And you pretty much know what you're going to get when you pick up a James Patterson book, even if he has a ghostwriter writing it, right? Because he has a formula. He has something that he says, I consistently am going to offer you this. Harlequin is another great example of this. If you were to pick up certain of their lines, you know how much sex there's going to be, you know what kind of story there's going to be, you know the character's going to be different. It's a totally different story, and it's a totally, it's really fun each one, but you know what you're going to get. Raythe Rain is exactly like that. I write stories based on your desires as well as my own, that sort of that Venn diagram where they connect. And I write stories that are similar to one another in terms of meeting these emotional fantasies that we have. You'll know from the get-go whether a story is going to meet your expectations. And if you read one like Everdark, I absolutely promise you, even if you were to read something completely different, supposedly on the surface, like Elven King's Blade, you're going to love that too, even though that's high fantasy with elves, and the other one's Everdark is political machinations and vampires. So then let's just go back finally to the final section of the FAQ, which is membership. And this really is, again, what we're doing with this walkthrough, which is where do I find stuff? Where can I see the art? Where can I go? What can I do? That sort of thing. Another question I get is, where can I see all the art? Which is what's going to bring us to the next feature we're going to look at of the site. It's called the gallery. So let's go there next.
You're a dreamer, so am I.